What is going on, everybody? So today I want to talk about a risk to investing in One Piece because a lot of people that do invest in TCGs are newer investors, are younger people that maybe haven't been around as long. Like myself, look, I'm not super old either. I'm 29 years old, but it is important to understand what you are investing in and the problems that could arise when doing that. I see too many people that come into TCG investing or just investing in general and think that there's no way they could lose money. And there are tons of ways that investing, especially in TCGs, could go wrong. So today, I want to talk about one of those, which is liquidity. Now, I don't think that One Piece investing's largest issue is liquidity. I think the largest risks associated right now with investing in One Piece are obviously the game failing, Bandai either just not managing it well, One Piece just dying as a brand, which I think is highly unlikely. But once the series ends, once Ichiro Oda finishes writing the mangas and the anime comes out and whatnot, after that, what comes next, right? And I think there are going to be ways for them to do spin-offs and play off it for a long time, similar to what Pokemon's done after Ash Ketchum left the anime in the series. So I'm not too worried about that. But a problem that is going to arise right now and in the future if the game doesn't continue to grow at a healthy rate is going to be how easy it is for you to offload a lot of product. And the reason I'm bringing this up today is I actually have a couple consultation calls this week with people that are looking to get into One Piece investing or add more to their positions. And they're just trying to figure out the right ratios in terms of how much they should put into One Piece. And for me personally, my One Piece investments are probably about 15% of all of my TCG investments, 85% being Pokemon, and then this being the rest. I don't invest in any other TCGs. I know some people like Magic, they're getting really excited about Final Fantasy coming out, or maybe the Weiss reprint of Nikki, whatever it is. I just stick to Pokemon, and I've branched out into One Piece because I see the potential in it. I think there's a lot of upside, but it is riskier, right? And right now, if you want to get out of the hobby, it is more difficult to sell products. So for example, take OPO5, and we'll look at maybe like OPO1 as well, Romance Dawn, but OPO5, PRBO1, and then maybe OPO9, and also let's consider EBO2 as well because it's the newest set. So these are some of the more popular sets. EBO2 is a newer one, but OPO9 is a very popular set. Same thing with PRBO1, same thing with OPO5, and Romance Dawn is quite popular as well, but it is a more expensive box now. So when we go look at my spreadsheet, right, and we look at the sales data on the secondary market, and again, this is from eBay North America. So if you're in Europe, Australia, I'm sorry, the data is probably going to be a little bit different depending on where you are in the world, but it's not going to be too different. So this should still apply, right? So when we look at these weeks of data on eBay, which again is a massive platform in North America, you have a consumer base of close to 400 million people at this point. So that's a lot of people, right, buying and selling things. Romance Dawn Blue Bottoms, there were 0 sales a couple weeks ago. White Bottoms, there were like 5 sales on average, because again, these are daily sold, so 0.71 boxes per day. And even last week, there were 6 sales for Blue Bottoms, which is honestly like pretty high for a box that's $1,200-ish dollars. We had sales on TCG Player on Friday for the Mayhem sale, couple boxes sold there at $14.50, which is impressive. Like that is a good sign on a day like that we get some sales. But point being, right, most of these boxes are selling at less than 1 per day on eBay North America. So out of 400 approximately million people, and I honestly don't even know if they include Mexico in there, which would be more than 500 million at that point, people, but less than 1 box selling per day. That's not great. And you have some sets. Awakening of the New Era, OPO5, 1.29 boxes sold per day last week, and you also had 3 cases sold, and that is a more popular set. Also, PRBO1, even though it's like $300 at this point, selling at 1 per day, and OPO9, sitting around $200, is still selling around 2 boxes per day. So that's really good, actually, for One Piece. I think a couple of those sets are decent, but they're nothing in comparison to something like Pokemon. And I'm not going to show you guys the Pokemon spreadsheet because I do want to be respectful of people that have access to it now. But I will tell you, last week, Prismatic Evolutions, which is one of the newer sets in Pokemon, and it is the most hyped set since Evolving Skies. So the best set within the past 4 years, and honestly probably one of the best sets of the modern era. Prismatic Evolutions sold over 90 ETBs per day on average over the past week on eBay North America. Over 90. In comparison, EBO2 sold 6.57 boxes, and that's a new set versus a set that just got reprinted and is much cheaper than it probably should be. So 6 boxes, 6.5 versus 90, there really is not a comparison. Pokemon is way more liquid. It's much easier to get your money out of the hobby. And even in Pokemon, right, it can still be difficult to get close to market value for your product at times. For example, offloading Brilliant Stars, Fusion Strike, some of these booster boxes that just had a crazy leg up, it is difficult right now. It's not super easy to find buyers after that kind of move up is finished, right? People kind of want to get it on the way up. And then once that move happens, you're normally stuck with product for a while. Like maybe you'll sell a few boxes, but most people kind of already see that as a missed opportunity, and you kind of have to let time run its course, and then maybe 6, 12 months later, when it's looking like there's going to be another leg up, that's when people are ready to reload and buy more boxes, and that's going to be a good opportunity for you. Now, maybe you vend or something like that, and you're open to a lot more, you're exposed rather to a lot more buyers than a normal person would be on a daily or weekly basis, and it's a bit easier for you to move some things. But on average, after that leg up in, whatever TCG it is, right, you kind of have to sit on stuff for a while normally. And all of this is just a really long-winded way for me to say that if you are going to invest in One Piece, you do have to be mindful of what your intention is and how much money you're putting into it too. So if you're investing in One Piece and you're all in, like you really believe that the IP, the game, everything about it is going to last for 5, 10, 15 years, whatever, but at least for like 5 to 10, right? That's kind of the goal. If this game's going to succeed, we'll probably see it around in 10 years and flourishing. If that's your mindset, right, you don't need to have that money. That money should not be a worry to you over the next decade, right? You should already be in a healthy place in terms of how much money you're investing into TCGs. You should max out your TFSA or Roth or whatever, tax-free accounts you have. You should make sure you have an emergency fund, all of that jazz. So once you have that, you shouldn't have to worry about your boxes or moving them quickly. Now, if you're getting into One Piece because you want to resell product, you want to be flipping product and, trying to build a larger bankroll, I think you should be exposed to also Pokemon and other games. Just focusing on One Piece, again, that's a much smaller niche market. If you look at any successful game store, they're going to have distribution of Pokemon. They're going to have One Piece. They're going to have some Weiss Schwartz. They're going to have some Magic. They're going to have all the games, maybe even some Digimon or some Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever, right? So you want to spread your net wide if that's your goal. If you're just investing for the long term and you're really not planning to flip a lot of boxes and move a lot of product, that's not your business model or what you're trying to do, then sure, niching down into 1 or 2 games, that's perfectly fine. But just remember that when you go to sell, you are going to be competing against a lot of people. And that's why one thing that I tell basically everyone who gets involved in investing, whether it's in One Piece or Pokemon, you need to start from day one. Honestly, start an eBay store, build up some feedback, try and get up to like 50 or 100 and have 100% positive feedback. That's a huge thing. Like just build some level of reputation that shows potential customers that you are legit. You're going to be selling them a good product. It's not going to be resealed. It's not going to be fake. It's going to be packaged properly, so it's not going to arrive damaged. Once you can do all that, you're already going to be ahead of 90% of people in this hobby, and that's going to give you a huge advantage when you go to sell. Also, just make sure that you take good photos so you don't have a bunch of random shit on your desk, that the lighting's good, you can see the card. Make sure that you write a good, solid description that points out any flaws in the product. Like, just doing those small things is going to put you ahead of so many people that when it does come time to sell, it's not going to be as large of an issue. And also, you can network, you can work with other people. Maybe there's a local store that you talk to and they'll happily buy product off you for like 80, 82%, 78%, depending on the product, whatever it's going to be, right? Like figuring out a way to be able to move product quickly if you have to. But for most people, if you are investing somewhere between, 5 and 30% of your portfolio into One Piece, I think that's probably fine. Probably on the lower end if you are investing in other games maybe. But if you really believe in it and you want to go higher than 30%, 50%, maybe even 100% of your portfolio is in One Piece, great. But again, just understand that it is going to be a lot harder for you to move product compared to a game like Pokemon. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.